Thune at Noon with Mike Steely and Parker Thune. Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino calling line at 405-329-9000. Text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Live from the Buffalo Wild Wing Studios, here's Mike Steely and Parker Thune.
All right, everybody, let's jump into Tuesday, April Fool's Day. How we doing? Good to have you with us. Steelman and Thune underway, brought to you by Lasher Home Comfort Systems, 405-579-3113. Tim Lasher, great Sooner. Great company, Lasher Home Comfort Systems. Parker Thune, how you doing on this April Fool's Day?
I'm doing fantastic, Steely. Do you intend to engage in any tomfoolery?
I don't think you can really do that anymore. It's very difficult. You get fooled on Twitter pretty much every day now. Tiger tried to put out, hey, guess what? You know, my foot feels good. I'm going to play at Augusta. And people are like, yeah, right. And 30 minutes later says, just kidding. It's still horrible. Will not be there. But, you know, back in my day, by gosh, you could do it and get away with it. But
because there wasn't the internet?
Not as much internet. The internet was there, but social media wasn't there, right? That's how old I am. The last one we did that went off pretty well, I'm still hunchback a little bit. Jeez, I thought we had less hunchback. It's still, okay, we're working on it. So anyway, as Bob Stoops would say, one year, the last one that really worked on April Fool's Day, Terry Don Phillips was the old athletic director at Oklahoma State, and he was leaving and came up with an idea, hey, let's call Coach Switzer. We're going to have Oklahoma State's going to pay him millions of dollars to be their new athletic director. And the one caveat is he also has to renounce all ties to the University of Oklahoma. So I called Coach. We got with Coach, and, oh, hell, Mike, nobody's going to believe that damn, that kind of thing. He was kind of reluctant. I said, well, let's give it a try. So he reluctantly agreed. So we come on, Oklahoma State's going to pay Barry Switzer $5 million a year to be their new AD. And word is he's going to accept it. The one caveat, he has to renounce all ties to the University of Oklahoma. And the good thing was people on the show that day – didn't call in and say, that they kind of ran with it and, acted mad or whatever. And Coach Switzer, oh, hell, my damn phone was blowing up all damn day. Can't believe they fell for that. But that was the last one that we were able to get away with. But that was a long, long time ago. So happy April Fools, everybody.
By the way, Braylon from the 580 on the text line already texted in to say, Steely, tell the green jersey story if Parker hasn't heard. What's the green jersey story?
Well, the green jersey story, Toby, I think mistakenly, and Toby's rarely mistaken, but that belonged to Mark Shannon, who is the Morning Animal host right before I got there. And Mark Shannon had announced that OU was switching their official colors from crimson and cream to green and white, or was it green and gray? And people fell for that too. So there were some very upset people, and I think they were more snowed over by that. I think the people who knew the Switzer deal, there's no way and where that would have happened with the OSU deal, but people were very upset about the green uniforms deal. So that was a good one that was authored by Mark Shannon, the late great Mark Shannon. All right, so have you ever been April Fooled recently?
I can't say that I have ever been genuinely April Fooled.
See, you're too young to be April Fooled. I don't think it's real. I mean, it's nearly impossible these days because you can be fooled every day on social media, right? No, that's not real. And then eventually we all fall for one, right? It's going to happen on social media, but it's not, hey, the execution, it's not the same as it used to be. It's not as easy as it used to be to fool people.
Oh, here we go. Gunny of Stutzman Army texted in and said, fellas, I'm sober today.
Yeah, there's your April Fool's joke right there. Gunny, not buying it. Not buying it. No chance. No way. All right. I'll tell you who's no fool, our very own Ted Lehman. And this is what Ted said the other day on the Oklahoma Breakdown about what's happening at spring football. He's been out there at practices and scrimmages, and Teddy said, yeah, no doubt the offense looks a lot better.
remember, this time last year, we could barely practice because of all the injuries we had on the offensive line. I think we had like a walk-on true freshman playing center. You know, like every single snap of the entire practice every time was just obliterated instantly by the defensive line. So it was, I think it really just stunted everyone's growth on the offense last year. They're in a much better place than that. They work smoothly. They work efficiently. Mateer knows the offense. He's completely confident in it. He's got great command of it. Offense is, I mean, if you want to just say the race started at practice 1 in the spring, well, 7, 8 practices through, I don't know how many it is exactly. The offense this year is in a completely different world than the offense last year.
I like how Teddy says, they just snap the ball and get obliterated right off the bat because of all the injuries the offense had. And the offensive line was going through some growing pains. Even when they were healthy, we knew that was going to be the situation. But would you concur, based on what you've seen, the offense is in a totally different spot?
It is, and health obviously has a large role in that. As Teddy mentioned, like that was genuinely the case. At one point, I believe it was last fall. I don't think it was last spring, but I think it was last fall. Oklahoma's first-team center on the practice field was a walk-on true freshman named Evan McClure. That is a very real anecdote that actually happened. And so having most of your pieces on offense healthy, once again, you're not dealing with 100% health, obviously. Zion Reagans is hurt. Jaden Gibson is hurt. You got guys banged up here and there, right? But you have a quarterback that knows the system. You have an offensive line that is much deeper and much more healthy. You've got a deep backfield. You still got questions at tight end that you're going to have to figure out, but you got a lot of bodies there at the very least, and some really, really talented wideouts that have been able to stay healthy thus far. Yes, from everything I have heard and been told and seen with my own 2 eyes when we've gotten to witness the offense in open practice sessions, we're going to get another one this afternoon, assuming the weather holds. Yeah, this offense is in a much better place than it was last year at this time, and I think the questions are far less significant, and also there are just less of them than there were a year ago.
Yeah, the offense in so many games last year was not a help. You know, they were a hindrance time and time again. Now, there were some games, obviously the Alabama game, the defense did so much in that, but, the offense helped out. They got a little bit better, I think, especially, down the road when Joe John was calling plays. They got better. When they got a little bit healthier on the offensive line, they got better, but still so far below the Oklahoma standard, it wasn't even funny. But I do think they have a great chance to play a lot more complimentary football this year because the offense was not a compliment most of last season. There's no doubt about that. All right, one guy who is a fool is your boy Brandon Walker. What is the name of his unnecessary roughness?
Unnecessary roughness, yeah.
He's not buying the hype on Oklahoma, and he's coming after
of course he's not.
Oklahoma again.
The most sleeping giant program, the most underachieving program, the most disappointing program in this exact moment in college football is another one that did it to themselves. It's the Oklahoma Sooners. The Oklahoma Sooners absolutely sweatwalk into the SEC. And they have done this to themselves. They freaked the out when Lincoln Riley left. They didn't compose themselves and look around and get a coach they should have gotten. Instead, they got a defensive coordinator for life, a guy who has proven over the last 3 years he's only a defensive coordinator for life. They are not good offensively. There's nothing exciting about them. They've lost all their identity. Texas walks into the SEC, goes right to the Final Four of the playoff, goes right to the conference championship game. Oklahoma walks in, barely wins 6 games. And this is, in the 3 years, they've had a 6-win season, I believe a 6-win season, and then that freak 10-win season where they had a bunch of soft victories. Oklahoma should be a top 5 program year in, year out. They got that much buy-in. They own the state that much. They have that much access to talent. They have that much NIL. They should be a top 5 team year in, year out. But right now they're a top 40 program in the country because they hired a defensive coordinator as coach. As soon as they get their head out of their ass and they hire an actual coach, Oklahoma will be right back. I have no idea why they decided to take a nap, but they did.
What a guy. What a pleasant guy he is. And I'm sure he got a ton of clicks and a ton of attention on that because everybody's got to jump in, right? That's the whole goal for guys like that. And I'm sure, that probably got the attention he wanted.
Oh, yes, he certainly did, from the YouTube yahoos that, quote-unquote, cover Oklahoma. See, all those people. Here's what you have to understand about Brandon Walker. He's going to say stuff to try and get a given fan base. In the past, he's done this a lot with Oklahoma, but he's going to say stuff to try and get a given fan base to interact and hate watch and mean tweet. That's his entire goal. And so if you just don't engage with him, he doesn't get what he wants. But of course, all the OU YouTube yahoos are like, seriously, Brandon, you're a moron. Are you really spouting stuff like this off into the
People can't help themselves. They feel like they have to come back, right? Particularly in this day and age. You can show some restraint and not engage. But 90% of people will engage.
Greg in Muskogee says, is it me or does that guy sound like a Muppet on Sesame Street? Hang on, let's play it again.
There we go.
The most sleeping giant program, the most underachieving program, the most disappointing program in this exact moment in college football is another one that did it to themselves. It's the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yep, Muppet confirmed.
Pretty good. Hey, Sergeant Christmas says he isn't wrong about BB. The jury's still out. They're still deliberating on Brent Venables as a head coach.
They certainly are. But again, if you look at the circumstances that have led to Oklahoma's 6-7 campaign in 2022 and Oklahoma's 6-7 campaign in 2024, you don't lay all of the blame on Brent Venables' shoulders. Obviously, he's the head coach. He's the one that's ultimately responsible. But there were a lot of things that happened in 2022 and 2024 that were just out of his control and out of everyone's control, right? No college football program in America isn't going to be substantially crippled if they lose the top 5 wide receivers on their depth chart.
True. Very true. And that's why I give Brent a little bit of a pass for last season. Not a total free pass, but you're right. Like I said, man, I've been covering this program for a long time. I'm really, really old. I've never seen anything like that. Just a position that's totally devastated. 100% devastated. By the way, somebody asked about April Fools. Does Parker know the story of Sid Finch?
Sid Finch was the guy that...
Sports Illustrated?
Yeah, exactly. He had, like 160 mile per hour fastball or something like that?
Yeah, he was at spring training or whatever. That was well done. And somebody asked about whatever happened to the running back. That running back. It wasn't an April Fool's joke. That was Zeb McCracken, the barefoot running back from West Virginia we made up one year. And this was before there was an OU Insider or Sooner Scoop or, Oklahoma Oklahoma Breakdown's not really recruiting, but, you couldn't get that recruiting information that easily. You had to get a magazine sent to your home or whatever. But so we made up a barefoot running back named Zeb McCracken from Atnip, West Virginia, I think is where it was. And then Oklahoma was in on him and blah, blah, blah. And then he eventually went to another junior college or something on a banjo scholarship. But the great thing was Billy Tubbs was here at the time, and he did a show right after I got off the air. And he would always ask, what's the latest on Zeb? And he just ran with it. So, I don't know, maybe 50% of the people bought it, but the good thing was nobody could jump on, that's a bunch of BS. They just went with it. So, and we did fool some people on that, believe it or not. Has there ever been a barefoot running back in college football? Is that against the rules? You've seen barefoot kickers before.
I mean, listen, Steely, there's a reason why no one plays football barefoot. I mean, you have kickers that might go barefoot with a singular foot, but you can't play running back barefoot. Man, the second you take a spike to the top of your foot, it's over.
Unless you're Zeb
It's
McCracken
over.
and you run a 4-1 like Zeb McCracken did. You never get touched. But my favorite was later when we came back with Zachariah Leviticus, and he was a running back who was Amish. And OU was trying to find a way. He couldn't travel on a plane on trips. So OU was coming up. They were designing a horse and buggy to take him to road trips.
The Sooner Schooner.
Yeah.
Send the Sooner Schooner up there to Pennsylvania or wherever.
Absolutely. So those were the days. Those were the days.
Sooner Chris on the text line says, didn't you just engage with Brandon Walker by talking about the D-bag? Yes, I suppose we did.
Yes, we did.
It's Steely's fault. I'm pointing the finger at him.
Hey, I admit I'm chumming the waters right there. I'm just chumming the waters. So hand up. Guilty. Guilty is charged. So you're exactly right. All right, 405-651-3439. Zola Budd was a barefoot runner. Yes, she had the rivalry with Mary Decker Schlaney back in the day. That was at the L.A. Olympics, wasn't it? South African runner, Zola Budd, barefoot. That's correct. Okay, once again, want to thank Lasher Home Comfort Systems. They sponsor our first hour here on Steelman and Thune, 405-579-3113 for Lasher Home Comfort Systems. We are live on YouTube. Just search KREF Sports. We'll get to the YouTube chat today. Our man Blake is asking for your favorite all-time April Fool's joke story that maybe you fell for, or your favorite one. You can hit us up on the YouTube chat as well.
Did you see?
Go ahead.
Toby on Twitter tried to pull an April Fool's on everybody about the SEC mandating OU and LSU to play a triple header on Thursday. And then there was somebody from the OU ticket office that got in the comments and said, due to phone calls and emails being received by the OU ticket office, these changes have not been confirmed, and OU Athletics will make an official statement if there are any date/time changes made for the OU baseball series.
T-Row jumping in the water there.
Oh, this is the problem. This is a problem with the internet, Steely.
Toby Rowland has been suspended for the Oklahoma LSU series this weekend.
You can't make a joke. Again, one of the major issues with Twitter is that anybody and everybody can access Twitter.
True that.
And you get some very low IQ folks on Twitter.com.
That is a statement of fact as well. All right, we're going to take a break right here. And ladies and gentlemen, hit us up on the YouTube chat and on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. When we get back, we'll hear a little more of what Brent had to say with Josh Pate. We'll do that next right here on the Ref.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Hi, folks. This is Larry Knippelmeyer here at Knippelmeyer Chevrolet in Blanchard, USA. Conveniently located just 15 minutes south of Oklahoma City and 10 minutes west of Norman. With all the talk of inflation, market crashes, and tariffs, it's no wonder we're all afraid to make that new vehicle purchase. Now, with that being said, there will probably never be a better time to purchase your new Chevrolet at Knippelmeyer Chevrolet. No price increase or tariffs on our huge selection of in-stock vehicles. Pickups, SUVs, cars, and even Corvettes, all marked down and ready to sell. Interest rates are good, used vehicle trade-ins are high, and rebates and incentives are back on most new Chevrolets. So hop in that old vehicle and come see us at Knippelmeyer Chevrolet in Blanchard, where nobody beats our deal. Or give us a call at 405-485-3333, or catch us on the web at knippelmeyer.com. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
It's time for your certified most accurate forecast from KOCO5 First Alert Weather. Brought to you by Cavens Group. Do you have a water emergency? Give Cavens a call at 405-573-3048.
From the First Alert Weather Center, this is meteorologist Jonathan Condor with your KOCO5 News weather forecast. Out the door this morning, low about 50 degrees. It will be mostly cloudy to overcast today and windy. South winds, they're going to pick up. They're going to gust 40 to 45 miles an hour, so we have a wind advisory that goes through the evening. Now, highs will be in the lower 70s today. At any point this afternoon, this evening, there is a low chance of an isolated thunderstorm, but then scattered showers and thunderstorms. Severe storms likely after midnight tonight.
That was your certified most accurate forecast from KOCO5 First Alert Weather, brought to you by Cavens. Did you have a water emergency that you fear might turn into mold? Give Cavens Group a call at 405-573-3048 or visit cavensgroup.com today.
Ever wonder why someone would wake up at the crack of dawn just for a chance at the unknown? Maybe a better question is, what are you waiting for? Pacifico is brewed for those who follow their own path. That's living life anchors up.
Summer fun starts now at Westwood. 2025 passes are on sale now. Ride the water slides, float the lazy river, make a splash off the diving boards, and enjoy swim lessons, activities, and special events all summer long. Get your season pass today for unlimited visits and exclusive discounts. But hurry, they're only available while supplies last. Don't miss out. Go to westwoodpool.com now and lock in your summer of fun.
Hey, Sooner fans, we've got you covered. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
No, we don't get a break.
This is the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
This is Peggy Doviak, and I opened DM Wealth Management because of a horrible experience that my mother had with a stockbroker. I wanted to give people an alternative, a place they could go to understand their money, to know why investment decisions were made the way they were, and to create a financial plan that would help them meet their goals. Most of all, I wanted to help them plan their prosperity. Call me at 405-329-8884 or dmwealth.com.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, everybody. Doug from Norman is coming in, bringing the heat here in a minute.
Oh, boy.
Travis Davidson is coming after Parker Thune on the YouTube chat.
Wait, he's coming after me?
Yeah, he says, I bet Army would miss a beat if they lost their top 5 wide receivers, 54 rushing attempts per game. I think he's coming after you, Parker Thune. You said there's nobody. He came back with Army.
Army, Navy, they're probably the exceptions. Does Air Force still run the triple option?
I don't think they do,
Okay.
but I may be wrong. D. Dowis was pretty good running the option back in the day. Still love D. Dowis, a good triple option quarterback from back in the day. All right. By the way, on YouTube today, you'll notice they've lowered the camera just a little bit. Now, I still look like basically a corpse because the lighting is also extremely harsh. But Steelman and Thune now with less hunchback. Now with a little less hunchback, which is good. All right. We found some YouTube yahoos. You sent me a clip. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what you get in today's world. The YouTube yahoos.
This wide receiver room, I got to put my hand up and just say I was wrong. Like when they brought in Giovanni Gibson, I thought to myself, is that a needle mover move? Is that the wide receiver that Oklahoma needed to kind of revamp this room? Hey, that's why I'm sitting here in my basement. That's why Brent Venables and the staff get paid the big bucks, because it sounds like they hit. You know, every time you open up spring practice, whether it's just spring practices, whether it's the scrimmage that we heard about on Saturday, hey, that's why I'm sitting here in my basement.
He admitted
well, at least he owned up to it.
He admitted to it. That's why I'm sitting in my basement. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what our profession is sinking to these days.
Well, let's not call it a profession.
Well, yeah.
What those guys are doing is not a profession.
Our profession is journalism.
Yeah, here's my beef, though. In that same video, they open with what we're hearing from OU spring practice. You're not hearing anything.
They're hearing your podcast or somebody else's podcast. That's what they're hearing.
Correct. You don't talk to anyone in the program. You don't have sources. You are not a credentialed reporter in any capacity whatsoever. So don't open your videos with what we're hearing. No, just say, we read this here or here or here. We heard this here or here listening to this podcast.
They don't
Please.
They don't give credit to anyone.
No.
Because, they're not picking up, we've got a source. No, you don't. You don't. But that, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, they probably have a bunch of subscribers too. They're just in it to make a buck. That's it.
And I don't begrudge anybody that just wants to get in front of a microphone.
I'm begrudging them.
Okay,
okay, go ahead.
I don't begrudge anybody that just wants to get in front of a microphone and talk about OU football, right? I mean, we all want to talk about OU football. That's what we do year-round. Twitter Spaces, podcasts, YouTube. So many folks have platforms. Well, everybody has a platform these days. That's the nature of the internet. And there are a ton of people that just like to get in front of a microphone and talk about OU football, and that's fine. But please do not present yourself as some sort of insider or someone with sources if all you're doing is just regurgitating stuff from people in the know. That is called plagiarism.
To fool people these days. Politicians have used social media on both sides of the aisle to just fool people left and right. They're easily fooled. They are easily fooled. You know, let's just go into another profession. I want to be a part-time lawyer. Can I just go start lawyering? Usually you have to pay your dues for something. There's no dues paying. And a lot of these people think, I need to be here right now. I need to be on the radio right now. No, you don't. You need to pay your dues. The only way that happens is if you're an ex-Sooner football player. And if you're an ex-Sooner football player who can communicate, knows the game, put sentences together, be entertaining, you're going to be great. Teddy, Gabe, when we had Caleb King Kelly in here, guys like that. Who's Damian Mackey when he's on with you?
No, he's awesome.
When you have Martin Chase on, that's the only way you can skip to the front of the line. I mean, you got a lot of people who want to skip to the front of the line now. Mm-hmm. And most of these people, again, are the charlatans. They're just trying to fool you that, yeah, I've been in the know forever. No, you haven't. You haven't been in the know. You're trying to present people like you're in the know, but you're not really in the know. Yeah, Dean is one. That's Mustang. He is. Absolutely he is. So anyway, all right, what do you want to get to first? What do you want to get to?
How about Doug's text?
Yes, Doug. Doug in Norman is bringing the heat. He's using a torpedo bat right off the bat.
Doug said, you can call them circumstances all you want. Anybody else calls them excuses. It's funny that no other major college program ever has injuries. It's just Oklahoma. The guy, Brandon Walker, whose clip you just played, might be a complete putz. But what did he say that wasn't true? All he does is hurt the fragile OU fan base's feelings. Yes, again, that's kind of his brand, Doug, and we acknowledge that. That's why you don't feed the machine, don't give him what he wants, don't engage. But look, I'll go back to what we were talking about in the very first segment with Oklahoma's injury situation throughout 2024. It's one thing to have injuries. It's another thing to have a MASH unit, as Steely put it so many times last fall. Oklahoma had the lengthiest injury report in the SEC by a long shot.
I think you would call those extreme circumstances.
Correct.
Not just regular circumstances.
You're right. Yes. Generally, every single college football program is going to have a guy or two in their starting lineup on both sides of the ball. Find me another program in the 21st century at the Power 4 level that has ever had to deal with long-term injuries to the top 5 wide receivers on their depth chart.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Look, there was still bad football involved. There's no doubt about it. But the conglomeration of all the injuries that came together on the offense was a complete disaster. Clearly, the OC, Seth Luttrell, his dad, Jim, great Sooner, Seth, great Sooner, national champions. But it didn't work out. And there was a lot of things that went into that. Bad football was part of it, too. No doubt. All right, 405-651-3439. Let's hear another one from Brent and Josh Pate yesterday. And I think this is what all Sooner fans are hoping for, too. This was the final question and answer from the Brent appearance with Josh Pate that finally got to YouTube the other day.
I'll get you out of here on this. Outside of just result-oriented stuff,
yeah,
you'd love to just win every game this fall.
Yeah.
If I can't guarantee you that, but I could guarantee you one intangible. I'm going to grant you just one intangible wish. It's going to go your way. For this team specifically, what would you love to just have guaranteed?
We have an offense and a defense that complement for one another, not compensate, for one another. And I think if we're going to be a successful team, a team that competes for an SEC championship, that we're in the hunt, that we're in the playoff talk, I think that when the year's finished, you'll see, man, they really complement one another on both sides of the ball.
Yes, because last year was the opposite of complimentary football. You think it was a compliment when the OU defense had that incredible stop on Tennessee, got the ball for the offense at the 5-yard line of the Vols? And what did Oklahoma do? Imploded on offense. Jackson Arnold fumble.
Yeah, that's
great opportunity for momentum.
That's not complimentary
game.
Football. That's a toxic relationship
yes,
right there.
Absolutely. That's a good way to put it. It was a toxic relationship. I'm surprised the police didn't show up and have the offense taken away, you know? The defense should have had a restraining order.
You got one side putting in all the effort and the other side actively sabotaging it.
That's true.
It's the definition of a toxic relationship.
That is true. All right, Bob Frick again. Was he on YouTube and on the chat? Bob, yes, I pled guilty. You're right. We did engage with Brandon Walker, and it was my call. So I hand up, I'm guilty. Sometimes, you know, I fall into the trap. I'm caught in the trap. I can't walk out because I love to throw the chum in the text water and see what happens sometimes. So I'm definitely guilty. Definitely guilty. All right, 405-651-3439 on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Brody Lusk is going to be making his first appearance on our show. How about that? How old is he now? 14? What is he?
12.
12. He's like the Doogie Howser of OU basketball.
He's not actually 12, to be clear. That was a joke. He is a youngin', though. Very in the know, however.
Now,
the man when it comes to OU basketball.
When did he start getting, like a couple years ago?
Yeah.
How old was he when he started working towards this stuff? 16?
Probably about 16, I would say.
That's a kid who's got it going on.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't try and fool anybody. Didn't try and skip the line. Just started working.
Correct. And I can verify that man has always done it the right way.
Good.
He is not a clickbaiting buffoon. He is not someone who speaks out of turn, says things he doesn't actually know. No, man, he is a very, very talented young reporter with a very bright future. We're fortunate to have him at OUinsider.com.
Yeah, he does a good job. He'll join us on the Riverwind Casino hotline coming up at 12:40. What's the realist saying? Steely is becoming a YouTube Yahoo, trying to stir it up, the Sooner Nation by I already pled guilty, all right? I do plead guilty to the charges. You want me to take probation? How about next Thursday and Friday, I'll be suspended. Oh, wait, I'm off to watch Augusta anyway. Let's call that a 2-day suspension. How about that? All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We will talk to Brody about what's going on in the transfer portal. A lot of names out there for Oklahoma. There was a little debate this morning, you know, I think some people on the text line, you know, is Porter going to be back? Yeah, I think it's 98%, right? Might even be 100%. I don't think he's going anywhere. Do you, Parker?
At this point, where would he go? You know,
well,
I don't think the Maryland job is.
Yeah, and the Trey Young deal, that's some great news. We'll play a little sound from Trey Young a little bit later, but I love that. That's great for the OU program, getting Trey Young involved. Trey still lives in Norman. His dad, they've done a lot in the community. The YFAC is awesome, and that's huge. That is huge, the Trey Young assistant GM news. So. Steelman, did you pay your dues at KTEN in Ada? I did, yes. Small market TV a long time ago, yes, in a galaxy very far away. I work with a guy who's still a friend of mine named Bob Slovak, who is at the ABC station in Houston, still doing sports. Great guy. But, yeah. And then, you know, was the sports director at Fox here in Oklahoma City, and then I just got tired of TV. You had to dress up too much. Didn't like it. Still the news director. You're going to leave TV? You're just going to leave? Yes. Yes, I am. You still want to do TV?
I don't know that I have an expressed desire to do TV.
You kind of do TV. You're on camera a lot.
Yeah, I like being in front of a camera.
But what if you had to be in a freaking suit and tie every day? pancake makeup, powder, all that stuff. T-Row's going back to TV. Good for him. That's a good job. But I couldn't do it, dressing up every day. I just couldn't do it. I'm like, man, I miss a hoodie and a hat. I don't want to do this. And it was a great decision. Okay, Riverwind Casino, nearly 3,000 electronic games, the best selection of electronic games in the metro area. By far, they set the standard. They have all your favorite table games as well. An Oasis gaming area that is smoke-free. They have a Skyloft gaming area upstairs that is big time as well. Get out there and play with your wild card today. This month, the month of April, it's the 80K Spring Spins and Wins promotional drawings on Friday night. Get out there and get some extra entries by playing with your wild card today. You can particularly get that done on Mondays and Tuesdays. So another great promotion happening. April concerts are on the way with America, Saturday, April 26th. And then Boyz II Men on a Monday night, April 28th in May, Patti LaBelle, Randy Rogers Band, and Scotty McCreery. And then in June, we have Jay Leno coming Friday, June 6th to the Showplace Theater with special guest Arsenio Hall. And then the comedy of Nick Swartzen coming on the very next night, Saturday, June 7th. Also, make sure you get in the App Store, Apple or, Android, and go get the Riverwind Casino app. It's going to give you discounts. You'll know about promotions. No cost involved. You want to get that brand new Riverwind Casino app as well. And when we get back, we will talk with Brody Lusk of OU Insider on the Riverwind Hotline. That's right around the corner, right here on the Ref.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Looking for a trusted, locally owned and operated roofing company in Oklahoma? Black Thunder Roofing is a top-rated Home Advisor Elite Service Award winner and recipients of multiple Angie Superior Service Awards. They can do it all. Black Thunder also does free inspections and estimates. Locally operated in Norman and Edmond, Black Thunder Roofing serves OKC's metro area south to Purcell, Noble, Blanchard, as well as Yukon, Mustang, Bethany, and Piedmont. Visit blackthunderroofing.com or call 405-473-8028 for your free estimate today.
What's up, Ref Army? It's Dusty Dvorak. Do you eat, sleep, and breathe football? KREF is the only place for the most comprehensive daily analysis of Sooner and college football. Catch me every Tuesday and Wednesday during the 10 a.m. hour of The Plank Show as I cut it up with Plank and Josh about everything in the world of Sooner and college football. That's every Tuesday and Wednesday on The Plank Show, and there's only one place to hear it. The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Download the KREF app today to listen from anywhere.
Life is yours to spend. Spend it making more money. Spend it making more memories. Spend it learning a new skill. Spend it teaching an old trick. Spend it career climbing. Spend it mountain climbing. First United Bank. Spend life wisely.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple App or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
Schumacher Law Group, when experience matters. Tracy Schumacher is a former prosecutor and former district judge. Whether it's a probate challenge, criminal charges, or contentious divorce proceedings, experience matters. The attorneys at Schumacher Law Group provide compassionate, knowledgeable advice, all while fighting for your best interests. Find Schumacher Law Group online at lawgroupok.com or call 405-701-1882. Hometown lawyers ready to fight for you when experience matters.
Whether you're celebrating a special occasion, desire a great postgame, or after-work dining experience, the Ranch Steakhouse is the winning choice. At Ranch Steakhouse, we're grilling up the best USDA prime steaks in Oklahoma. Juicy, flavorful, and cooked to perfection. Pair that with an unbeatable atmosphere, a killer drink selection, and a wine list of over 400 personally curated bottles. Whether you're toasting the game or winding down after a big day, Ranch Steakhouse is where champions eat.
Hi. Hi, I'm Ashton and I'm with the nonprofit Fostering Futures. Every day, children are removed from their homes due to abuse and neglect. In these critical moments, we step in to support these vulnerable kids. We work alongside child welfare workers to meet the essential needs of safety, stability, and healthy connections, as well as providing enrichment opportunities. But we can't do this important work without your support. Consider donating at fosteringfuturesok.org. Together, we can offer children a brighter future.
Somewhere there's a river rushing through the woods while someone rushes through their day. There's a mountain looking up at the sky while someone looks down at their phone. A trail waiting to be walked while someone waits for a latte. This world is full of somewheres waiting for someone just like you. So go see yours at 154 national forests and 20 grasslands. And to learn more, visit nationalforest.org. The National Forest Foundation. See your somewhere.
Tuesday edition, Steelman and Thune here on the home of Sooner fans, the Ref Radio Network. Also live on YouTube. Just search on YouTube KREF Sports. You'll find us there. Less hunchback today from the old man, which is a good thing. Still pretty ugly, though, on camera, but, you know, that's 62 years old. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. But we're going to go here in just a second to the Riverwind Casino hotline. But first, this was Trey Young on the announcement yesterday. He's going to be the assistant general manager for Oklahoma basketball. And here's what Trey said about why he is getting involved.
Well, I think obviously today the game has changed, and with NIL and college basketball, the way it's changed, I think it's a perfect time for guys to be more involved with the schools that, make them who they were, or help just kind of push them to be who they were. And I know for someone like Steph and me, we represent our schools off the court and in the locker rooms and talk trash all the time. So now to be able to even represent even more, it's going to be even more special.
There you go, Trey Young on ESPN yesterday. We welcome in Brody Lusk, OU insider, Riverwind Casino hotline, making his debut here on Steelman and Thune. Brody, we appreciate that. What kind of impact do you think Trey Young can have in this position for Sooner basketball?
I think he can definitely make a pretty big impact, just as far as being able to have Trey Young call some recruits and vouch for Oklahoma, but also it's the money aspect. Obviously, he donated $1 million, but, to have him being someone who's supporting fundraising for the men's basketball program, I think it'll help NIL-wise. Him and his dad and his whole family have done a lot for the Norman area, and this is just another thing that they're doing. But I definitely think, he's been someone who's been very involved with the basketball program. When he's in town in the summer, he's up there. He was, having some runs with Jeremiah Fears and some other guys this past summer. And so to have him just involved even more, I think it will definitely help the program.
Now, Brody, obviously $1 million, which is the amount that Trey Young is donating to OU's basketball NIL efforts. These days, that's not going to go too terribly far, at least with big-time elite portal transfers. But as OU starts to peruse their options in the transfer portal to try and rebuild this roster for the 2025-26 season, how much help is $1 million in the bank going to be, especially with the back end of the bench and just establishing some additional depth that maybe hasn't been there the last couple of years for this team?
Yeah, if you're looking at like a top-tier transfer, $1 million might pay for half of it. But just to have an extra boost, and, you could probably pay for your whole bench with that $1 million. And so it'll definitely help, but if you're looking at a top-tier transfer, which Oklahoma is, it's going to cost you. But I think the NIL efforts we've seen from Oklahoma basketball this portal cycle have already been much better than what we've seen in years past. Years past, they'd get a big-time transfer on campus, and it's like, all right, well, once another team comes in and pays more money, you can take that out, just like a Sean Padula or a Brandon Garrison. But this year, they're not playing around. They do have some money to work with, and part of that is because of Trey Young, but also just increased efforts in that aspect of NIL. So I do think it'll definitely provide a boost. just for some of those bench guys that you want to keep around and developed. But if you're looking at like how much is $1 million going to get you, maybe half of your best player. But yeah.
Brody Lusk, OU Insider, joining us here on the Riverwind Casino Hotline. Let's talk transfer portal targets. Who are the names you think that Sooner fans should start getting excited about that you think Oklahoma has a legit shot at right now?
Yeah, I'll start with the two visitors they've had. First of all, Tay Davis from Notre Dame, a junior, 6'9" forward. He averaged 15 points, 5 rebounds for Notre Dame. He'd be a very good first kid. He visited yesterday. Kind of a wing forward, very similar to Jalen Moore, but more of a facilitator offensively and a little bit less athletic. If you're looking at like he's someone who I think if they could start with him, that would be a very good get. He's done it in the ACC, albeit for not a great team, and in my opinion, the ACC not that great of a conference, but. He'd be someone who you plug and play starter. And then you got Frankie Collins from Tennessee, who is on campus today. With him, if he's going to be your starting point guard, I'll be honest, doesn't excite me too much. But I do think if you could bring him in as a point guard off the bench, an older veteran, established point guard, I do think that would be a pretty solid add. One thing Oklahoma is doing this year that we haven't seen them do in years past, they're big game hunting. Silas Demery, Jacoby Gillespie, and Gillespie, he'll go to Tennessee, but they're not shying away from these big-name targets. And so I think that's what's making this very, very interesting of a portal cycle is once you get that big target, I think it will kind of go from there. But Silas Demery, he's one that, they've been on, and he'd cost about 3 times that $1 million. So I do think this year you're going to see them look for that star player, that star point guard. But Tay Davis, Frankie Collins, those are the main 2 names to watch right now. Another one is Jermichael Stillwell from Milwaukee. He's a 6'5" wing he's just going to do all the dirty work. He's really the type of player that Porter Moser would think he would bring in. So he'll also take a visit to Oklahoma. Those 3 guys, 2 have visited, 1 is going to visit. And then, you're going to see them continue to big game hunt until they can find someone that'll stick.
If we're talking retention, Brody, who that was on the roster this past year for Oklahoma do you expect back in the fold this coming season? How much of this past year's roster is Oklahoma going to return?
As far as production, not much, but I think you do return potential. Obviously, Dayton Forsyth, I'm told, his role is obviously going to expand. You're going to see him be used more as a playmaker. I think he'll have every chance to earn a starting spot next season. And I look at it, he'd be starting alongside whichever big-time point guard that you bring in. But I think with him, I think he'll have a much bigger impact. I mean, you see him score 25 against Ole Miss. The potential is clearly there. With the offseason under his belt, he'll be a major contributor. Aside from him, it does seem like there's a growing chance that Mohamed Wagi will return. And he had some good moments down the stretch. I look at him kind of the same role he played this year. I think Kai Rogers would have the edge to start over him at center. Aside from those 2, maybe you can return Duke Miles. That one is still very much up in the air. Jeff Wankwell, he's someone he's already verbally stated he's coming back. He didn't play last year due to the Achilles injury, but he was one of the best players in the summer. So you factor him into that, and then you look at Jadon Jones, if he returns, which I think that one I would probably bet on him returning. So those guys, and then you have, in my opinion, a wild card in Cool Attack. And then you have your freshmen coming in. But, the main 2 I think that right now are surefire would be obviously Dayton Forsyth, Jeff Wankwell.
Brody Lusk, OU Insider, with us on the Riverwind Casino Hotline. Mike Steely, Parker Thune here on this Tuesday edition on the Home of Sooner Fans, the Ref Radio Network. We're on YouTube as well. If you want to join the party there, just search KREF Sports on YouTube. And we're seeing you guys and ladies on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. All right, real quick, Brody, before we let you go, Aaliyah Chavez, her commitment to Jenny Baranczyk last week was huge. I mean, Sooner basketball has been all over the news with the Trey Young announcement yesterday and last week with the Chavez commitment, again, to OU women's basketball. It seems like Jenny Baranczyk's on a huge roll right now, and what a get that was for her, how that went down. When you think about Courtney Paris was not the number one, she was one of the top 1 or 2 recruits in the country, but what a great day for OU women's basketball last week.
Yeah, and Trey Young also played a factor in that recruitment too, and so that he was a factor there. But yeah, they had a good year this year, but you look at adding her to that team, man, it's just going to be exciting times. To see men's basketball had Jeremiah Fears, he'll go in the lottery. But women's basketball is a whole different sport. You bring in a top recruit, and it's like you're not going to go to the draft after 1 year because that a lot of times financially doesn't make sense. And so you could be looking at getting 4 years of her in Norman. And so I think she's done a great job with this women's basketball team, but I think next year they'll be very, very fun to watch, just with, bringing in the number one high school recruit, but also retaining some of the very good pieces they already have. You maybe get them 1 or 2 more key transfers in the portal. And I think, you're going to be looking at a team that should be competing at the top of the SEC next year. So, if men's basketball can have a good portal cycle, then you could see both these programs have successful years in basketball.
Brody Lusk, ladies and gentlemen, the Doogie Howser of OU Insider. He started very early. Are you of drinking age yet?
I'm not. I'm 18.
Okay. All right. Well, be very careful in 3 years, all right? Parker Thune, you party with him, you're partying with the best, all right? So just be very careful. Actually, well, Brandon's not going to party that much. Maybe it's Travis. Watch out for Travis. He's a partier. He's got that horns down on him all the time. You know what I'm saying? I think he carries around – does he carry around like a flask of the horns down? Do we know? Like when he's on with you at OU Insider, Travis?
Are you accusing Travis of drinking on the job here?
No, I'm saying before and after the job.
This would be par for the course, given your beef with
Travis.
Travis.
I'm just watching out for young Brody. He's got a very promising career. He's already killing it, all right? I want to make sure he stays on the right path. I can figure I can be like a Yoda-type voice for the youngsters. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to do here.
On the right path, you must say.
Yes. Brody, you do a great job. Thanks for coming on with us. We'll have you on again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Wonder how he felt coming on with a regional radio star for the very first time. Didn't appear
a regional radio star, think about this, that is over 3 times his age.
That's right. I'm just thinking he had to be. I didn't hear any nerves at all. I didn't. Well, maybe a stutter here or there.
No, he's a cool customer.
He knocked it out of the park. Aaliyah Chavez won the 3-point shootout, right? I'm told.
That is correct.
Camp.
Yep.
Man. Jenny B. Natty next year. What do you think? Oh, yeah. Book it.
Somebody on the text line asked, is Chavez the reason Raina Scott is entering the transfer portal? We can safely assume the answer to that question is yes.
Think so?
I mean, what are the odds Raina Scott, who plays point guard, is starting over Aaliyah Chavez
Maybe
next
she
year?
wants to play for a Natty and get some minutes, log some minutes, right?
Brian from Maryland says, she's Steely going to HR about Travis on the air, no less.
That is not true. It was a joke about he's not drinking age. Who should he watch out for at OU Insider that could influence him, going in that direction? Travis is the horns down apple pie guy, right? We're just giving him free ads. That's what we're doing.
So Travis is the drunkard of our staff? Is that what you're trying to say?
I did not say that. I said I've never seen you with the horns down apple pie or Brandon Drum with it. At least you're sneaking it in a brown bag somewhere that I don't know about. McDonald's All-American game today, 5:30, ESPN2 with Chavez. There you go. All right. Thank you very much. Next week, the Augusta National Golf Club. Going to be amazing. sitting on the couch from 6A to 6P, Thursday and Friday, and probably watching the Golf Channel after that. What a life that's going to be. 2 days of pure bliss. That'll be awesome. All right, we're coming back. Another hour to go. Keep it here on the Ref.
Sound off any time of day on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Right here on the home of Sooner fans.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Get ready for an unforgettable summer at the Young Family Athletic Center. Our summer day camps and sports leagues are the perfect way for young athletes to stay active, improve their skills, and have a blast. Whether your child is into basketball, volleyball, or pickleball, we've got open gym, leagues, and camps designed for all skill levels. Registration is now open for most summer activities, but space is limited. Don't miss out. Go to YFAC.com and make this summer one to remember.
Hi, this is Lisa Talley, broker and owner of Aria Real Estate Group. Aria Real Estate Group is Norman's premier full-service commercial and residential real estate brokerage and leasing and management firm. With our team of real estate agents, specialized property managers, and in-house maintenance team, Aria is here for you in every capacity. Whether you're a seller, a buyer, an investor, or a renter, we can help. Please explore our website at ariagroupok.com. Aria Real Estate Group, the gold standard of real estate.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Good lighting is an absolute necessity these days, but not all lights are created equal. Did you know that you can reduce the energy consumption of a light fixture by up to 85% by converting to LED? Sounds like a great opportunity, but finding the right LED product isn't always easy. At Wade Electric, they have the knowledge and experience to provide an LED conversion that will save you money and stand the test of time. Whether in your home or office, get the right money-saving LED product the first time and call Wade Electric today at 405-329-1940 to receive a free estimate.
Dreaming of an escape? What about a relaxing escape to your very own backyard? Signature Custom Pools can turn your dreams into reality. Signature Custom Pools creates distinctive designs to fit your perfect getaway. Call Signature Custom Pools for your free design consultation at 405-898-9098 or visit them online at signaturecustompools.com and turn your backyard into your dream escape.
Teachers are dynamic leaders shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. They're skilled experts, discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, leading by example. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready? Explore teaching at teach.org, supported by the U.S. Department of Education and 1 million teachers of color.
I thought mixing bleach with my floor cleaner would take the stain out.
When my youngest ate the dog's medicine, that was a new one.
I was trying to protect my garden, but I accidentally sprayed myself with pesticide.
So I called 1-800-222-1222, the poison helpline.
A poison expert helped me figure out what to do next.
I was connected to someone who spoke Spanish.
They answered my questions.
It was free.
It was confidential.
It was real help in real time.
Keep the poison experts in your pocket. 1-800-222-1222.
You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
We are back with hour number 2, the award-winning second hour here on Steelman and Thune. Brought to you by Hightower Clinical. We appreciate them. Great clinical trial opportunities right here in the Oklahoma City metro area. You need some more information? Get online at hightowerclinical.com or call or text 405-831-5905. No cost, no insurance needed to take part in these trials. Patients are compensated for their time. Your meds are free as well. And they're doing great work. Check them out online at hightowerclinical.com. And you can also give them a call or text them for more information at 405-831-5905. Okay, that way, we're trying to get the camera set up. We're trying to take the hunchback out of play here somewhat. So, man, now I look huge, man. I look huge. Look at little Parker over there now. He's like this big. Wow. Okay, we'll work on it. All right, 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Dusty Dvorak on the Plank Show. Earlier this morning, doing his usual great job. Both of them, all three of them, playing Josh and Dusty. But this is Dusty talking about what he's seen, what his impressions are from, watching and hearing about Sooner Spring practice.
John Mateer, I think, just continues to kind of wow everybody. As was expected and thought, I just think he's going to wind up being everything that everyone hoped for, and similar to what we saw from him at Washington State this past season. So I think that's probably the biggest thing out of spring is just the offense has got a lot of positive vibes, like you mentioned, both coordinator and quarterback, and the quarterback's an absolute dog, which is exactly what you want. I continue to hear really good things about the wide receiver room. I know you and I talked last week about Javonte Gibson. Sure seems like that's going to wind up, potentially being a huge get for Oklahoma this next year. But I mean, I think it's a lot of the same things that we've heard. I'll be just intrigued coming out of this spring, what areas they possibly look to go to the portal.
Right.
Is tight end room an area that you're going to try to upgrade, you're going to try to assess. And I think what's most fascinating about this portal cycle is now you've got a brand new set of eyeballs and a front office that's evaluating everybody and assessing everything. And so now I just think you've got further detail on exactly what needs to be addressed, what needs to be looked at, and an entirely new staff and way of going about bringing in those new players. So I think that's, an interesting facet.
Dusty Dvorak on the ref this morning. What have been a couple of things that have surprised you that you've heard about spring practice so far?
That have surprised me?
Maybe not like, oh my God, but like, oh, really? Okay, he's doing that, or a position group, or would there be a couple things?
I'm certainly surprised as of late to have learned that Will Huggins is getting first-team burn at tight end.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of concerns me. And obviously concerns have been swirling for some time regarding that tight end room. But we're talking about a guy that has 20 career catches in 5 seasons of college football, 19 of them at the D2 level. And here he is in line to potentially start, or at the very least earn a share of the starting role at the University of Oklahoma. Not sure how I feel about that. Also, I will say I have been pleasantly surprised by the things I have heard regarding Ryan Foje. I think it's real easy to consider, if Michael Fasusi is the David Stone of this year's recruiting class, this year's group of signees, Ryan Foje might be the Jaden Jackson. Yeah, the guy that comes in with a little less hype, but actually winds up more ready to jump in and make an impact right off the bat.
Jaden Jackson, freshman All-American.
Indeed.
Kid's the real deal. Kid is the real deal. There's no doubt about it. All right. From the 405, what's the latest on Jaden Gibson? Is he going to be a factor? Yeah, what is the deal on Jaden Gibson? Just needs more time?
There's no way of knowing at this point because he had a significant injury, obviously, last August that kept him out for the entire season. And then he had a not insignificant complication from the original injury earlier this spring that's going to keep him out for the entirety of spring ball. And so it's fair at this point to wonder, is he ever going to be able to give you something again? You hope that's the case. He's a great kid, man. Was such a fun player to watch in 2023 when he was making plays for that Oklahoma football team. But a knee can only take so much, right? And Jaden Gibson's knee has endured a lot in the last 8 months.
Man, I would love to see him get out there and thrive. Because we talked about a kid in the system in Brent's culture who is really coming along, and it's been Jaden Jackson. So hopefully he'll have an opportunity. Love to see it.
Ron in Alito asks, does OU look for an additional receiver in the spring portal given the uncertainty on Jaden Gibson, or do you think they have enough depth as is? What I have been told is it's certainly a possibility that Oklahoma looks for another receiver for depth's sake. But I will say the readiness that both Elijah Thomas and Manny Choice have demonstrated since getting to campus, I think has alleviated some of the concerns about wide receiver depth because it's more or less been confirmed that you have two true freshmen that are legit ready to jump in and make their presence felt in year one. That's not just a pipe dream. That's not just something you hope. No, it's something you can expect.
By the way, we do have Sooner softball tonight, of course. Third-ranked Oklahoma taking on UT Arlington. That is a 6 o'clock start, 5:30 pregame with Plank. And Oklahoma baseball tonight, also in Arlington, in Frisco, Texas. Taking on Texas Tech, 6:30 start, 6 p.m. For T-Rose call to the matchup between the Sooners and the Red Raiders. Tech is struggling. Love to hear that. 8-16 overall. Big series coming up again. Thursday, Friday, Saturday series with LSU coming to Dale Mitchell Park this weekend. Well, Thursday's game will be on ESPN2, of course, scheduled to be. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday for the Sooners and LSU. The number 7 team in the country, the Sooners, were at number 10 this week after losing 2 of 3 at Alabama. And by the way, the Thunder beat the Bulls last night, 145-117. And the Thunder is just destroying teams. They've got the second best net rating ever behind the Jordan Championship Bulls, 95-96, I believe it was. And their margin is going to be the best in NBA history. So all the numbers pointing to Oklahoma City being the clear favorite to win the NBA championship. But you got to get out there and do it. We'll talk to Brandon Drum about it. Isaiah Joe, 8 threes last night. We'll talk to Brandon Rahbar about it coming up just a little after 1:40. And for anyone who says, I don't want to hear about the NBA, ban to text line Guantanamo forever. Your family will never see you on the text line again, ever. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line.
Glenn from Nashville says, listening to Dusty's comments, I will never understand, with the history that this program has with very good tight ends going all the way back to Keith Jackson and even beyond, how are we so depleted at the tight end position? How did we let this happen? Why are we not able to select among 3 or 4 very good tight end prospects every year?
Good question.
It's a great question.
What's your answer? IDK?
They have not recruited well at tight end. They have not recruited enough guys. They have consistently had to go to the portal to try to find tight ends.
Devon Mitchell, though, was a 5-star at one point
think
before he reclassified.
Think about it, though, Steely. Oklahoma wanted to take 2 tight ends in the 2023 class. They wound up with just 1, Cade McIntyre. They wanted to take 2 tight ends in the 2024 class. They wound up with just 1, albeit a good one, in Devon Mitchell. They wanted to take 2 tight ends in the class of 2025. They wound up with 1, and the one they wound up with, Trey Washington, when he committed, he didn't even commit as a tight end. He committed as an athlete. They were like, okay, we'll get you here. We'll figure it out. And then they wound up sticking him at tight end because, nobody else jumped at the opportunity to come play football at the University of Oklahoma. So it feels as though for several cycles in a row now, the tight end position has not been recruited on a level that is up to snuff at Oklahoma.
Sometimes you look at the text line and it's like, okay. All right, 405-651-3439. You think of the Sooners' history, Keith Jackson would be number one. You know, we've talked about Jermaine Gresham. You talk about Mark Andrews, all the way back, Steve Zabel back in the day. Zabel really played both sides of the ball, defensive end, tight end. Wasn't Zabel like a top 3 NFL draft pick back in the day? Guy was a monster. But, lately it's been it just always seems like if you have your tight end as a threat, your offense is going to be pretty darn good moving the football. Levy's offense is the problem, says the 405.
Levy's offense?
But Levy's offense is no more, though.
Levy hadn't been here since 2023, and Oklahoma was pretty dang good on offense that year. Spartan Sooner says, so is Joe John the problem with the struggle in tight end recruiting? I mean, look, end of the day, you can explain it away in a variety of different fashions. The schemes, the opportunity for play, like whatever you think it may be, ultimately, as Brent Venables is the one who is responsible in a final sense for the results of the Oklahoma football program in general, the blame and the fault for anything that happens with regard to the tight ends in particular, all of that falls on Joe John Finley, Steely. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, at some point, got to step up and land a dude. Ideally land a couple of big-time dudes. And I will say, the kid that Joe John has committed in the 2026 class right now, Ryder Mix, he is very good. He is very good. That is somebody that I think is going to have an outstanding career at the University of Oklahoma. But that's one guy. And right now, when you look at that room and you think about just what it takes to compete at the SEC level and run an offense that's going to be suited to the SEC style of play, man, you got to have a competent tight end. And Ryder Mix, as good as I think he is, I don't know that he's good enough to show up next year in 2026 and be the dude at that position. Who is the dude until then? You'd like to believe it's Jaron Kanek. That would be a fun story. I think even more so you'd like to believe that it's Devon Mitchell. But
yeah. We'll see. I'm not giving up on Mitchell. It's still too early, but, he looks the part. I know some people think he's, way overweight right now, but we'll see. Kyle from Salisaw says, move EPL to tight end. At least we know he can block and he can run. EPL at tight end. Interesting. Both Glenn from Nashville and Mark and Blanchard mentioned Forrest Valora. He was a good player. He caught the 2-point conversion in the Florida State's Oklahoma Orange Bowl, Part 2. Sooners won the first game, I think it was like 24-10. The next year they had to score late, 2-point pass, J.C. Watts to Forrest Valora. I would take a Trent Smith. Yeah, Trent Smith was a heck of a player. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Trent, great guy as well. Yeah, absolutely. Trent Smith was fantastic, no doubt. All right, 405-651-3439. Buzz Williams just now left Texas A&M for Maryland.
Now, here's why that's interesting, Steely, and why that might have some complications.
Porter's got some ties back to A&M.
He was an A&M assistant for 6 seasons back in the 90s.
Tony Barone, who was there at that time?
I think that would have been Tony Barone, yeah.
Wow. You wouldn't have an NIL money problem at A&M.
No, you would not. If what you feel like you need is more resources, that's a job you wouldn't mind having.
No.
So, obviously, the Maryland vacancy, I don't think there was much to bat an eye at in that regard, with at least as far as Porter is concerned. But with Texas A&M coming available, again, given his background, given his familiarity with A&M, and certainly given the fact that there are a ton of resources there, which is the one thing he has very conspicuously lacked at Oklahoma, I wonder if there is any traction. It's way too early to tell at this point. Buzz Williams just took that job like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there ends up being any traction between A&M and Moser.
It'll be interesting. Victor Hicks, yeah, good call, no doubt. You can go back to Adrian Cooper. Didn't he catch the Hail Mary from Cale Gundy in the Bedlam game, I believe, Adrian Cooper? Billy Brooks was not a tight end, though. He was a wide receiver, Glenn. First-round pick of the Cincinnati Bengals. But, yeah, really good player. Scored on the reverse against Michigan in the Orange Bowl victory back in the 70s. Steven Alexander, yeah, another excellent Sooner tight end. So the Sooners have had a pretty good history there, but it's been very frustrating of late, no doubt. All right, 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Get on out to Riverwind Casino today. Play with their wild card. They've got another great promotion happening on Friday nights this month. The great promotions for April are out. The 80K Spring Spins and Wins promotion is happening. The big drawings on Friday night. If you play with your wild card, get a few points in your wild card Mondays and Tuesdays. For those points, you're going to get 5 times the entries in the big drawings on Friday night. So get on out there and play with your wild card. Have a greater chance of hearing your name called. We also have the 30K Spring Fling Hot Seats promotion happening. Well, there are 2 of these. Hot Seat drawings April 12th and the 26th. On Saturday nights, get out there and win your share of 30K in cash and bonus play. Don't forget to download the brand new Riverwind app in the App Store. Apple or Android, get it done. You're going to get a lot of great information there, any updates. They have concert-wise. You're going to see those. Also, let's say they have a big discount on items in the gift shop one week. You're going to see those. You can track your points. It is going to be very beneficial to have that. No cost involved. Go get the Riverwind Casino app. Albert Chandler is another good name that played a little tight end for Oklahoma as well. All right. Thanks to our friends at Riverwind Casino. We will be out there again on Friday, but another month of great promotions are underway out at Riverwind. Okay, break time right here. We'll come back and hit the text line and the YouTube chat right here on the home of Sooner fans.
Through the dead of winter, to the dawn of spring, through the dog days of summer, and the kickoff of fall, no one covers Sooner football like we do. The Ref is SEC ready. Are you?
Considering refinancing your mortgage? Now might be the perfect time to start planning. With rates on the move, Stride Bank can help you determine if you may be able to lower your monthly payments, shorten your loan term, or tap into your home's equity. Stride's expert mortgage advisors will work with you to tailor a solution that fits your needs. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. Find out more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Oklahoma DRS helps job seekers with disabilities become taxpayers.
Their whole thing is to help people with disabilities go back to work.
They knew that I would be successful if I did not give up.
They have given me the power and confidence to face any challenge.
I'm just glad that, DRS was there. Empower yourself. Talk to DRS Vocational Rehabilitation.
Or services for the blind today.
OKDRS.gov. 800-487-4042.
More than 600,000 Oklahomans have disabilities. We can't afford to leave great employees behind just because they do things differently.
Who we are and what we accomplish
are much more important.
Hire an Oklahoman with a disability and gain dependability, commitment, and lower turnover. Reach out. Oklahoma Rehabilitation Services, OKDRS.gov. 1-800-845-8476.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
The Ref is the home of Sooner fans and is once again your home for chaos. Every game-changing hit.
Long fly ball to left. Track. Whoa. Gone.
Every strikeout.
Got him. Swinging.
Every defensive gem.
He caught it. He caught it.
Watch every game all year. The Ref has you covered.
Catch Sooner Baseball take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders in Frisco Tuesday night at 6:30 with pregame coverage starting at 6 on the Ref and the KREF app.
Mike Steely here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Hi, I'm Ashton and I'm with the nonprofit Fostering Futures. Every day, children are removed from their homes due to abuse and neglect. In these critical moments, we step in to support these vulnerable kids. We work alongside child welfare workers to meet the essential needs of safety, stability, and healthy connections, as well as providing enrichment opportunities. But we can't do this important work without your support. Consider donating at fosteringfuturesok.org. Together, we can offer children a brighter future.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am the man of steel, one of America's favorite regional radio stars, along with young Parker Thune, the young whippersnapper. Not as young a whippersnapper as Brody Lusk, who was on with us, by the way, a little earlier. Got a little Sooner Hoops update. And welcome in. If you're just joining us, thank you. Thank you very much. 405-651-3439, Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And also on the YouTube chat, search us at KREF Sports, and you will find us. We're on YouTube live every day from noon to 3. Friend of mine, Steely, do you enjoy being on the YouTube channel? No, I do not. I'm not going to lie. It's a fine organization, that YouTube, but do I enjoy being on it? I do not. Just telling it like it is. I can come in, oh, yeah, that's great. It's the best thing ever. I love it. I fought to get off camera. And now I'm back on camera. Well, you're on your Twitch stream. Well, yeah, that's a little bitty camera. And now they got me on camera at 62 years old, enough to frighten small children. Mommy, there's an old guy on here. Don't make me watch. It's really bad. Might have to get back to the get an image consultant again for TV. Probably not. All right, 405-651. Ooh, Parker, I like that one. This one looks good on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, the one that you have pulled up.
I'm a former college tight end, says a listener in Texas, and actually played against OU back in the 80s. Other than QB, tight end is the most difficult position to play on the field. It takes a freak athlete to block in line like a tackle, as well as catch and run like a wide receiver. Nowadays, most teams use 2 to 3 different guys to do all the things a tight end is asked to do.
Do you mind telling us where you played? 903 says from Texas. What is the 903 area code?
It's somewhere in the state of Texas. I don't know which area of Texas.
Played against OU, did you say back in the 80s, right?
Okay, so back in the 80s, that helps
Longhorn.
Narrow the possibilities a little bit. I doubt it's a Longhorn. An Aggie, perhaps?
How many interactions did Oklahoma have against A&M in the 80s?
No, I guess they weren't in the same conference as A&M at that point, were they?
Maybe SMU, maybe Houston, maybe 903. Tyler, Longview, Sherman, and Texarkana.
Okay, so that's East Texas.
Okay. Yeah, Texas back. If you don't mind, just tell us where you played, if you don't mind. So, I think that's right though. About what are we hearing now that you've got, Jaron Kanek in there when they're kind of splitting out and going with more receivers out there and trying to get him, I'm sure, isolated on a linebacker with his speed and athleticism.
Yeah, well, again,
but I think he's right.
Makes a ton of sense that Jaron Kanek would be the guy that you're splitting out wide when you want to split a tight end out wide because he's going to be your field stretcher at the position. He's easily the fastest tight end in the room. Brian and Bixby said he played at North Texas, I'm guessing.
Somebody is guessing North Texas. I'd have to go through the 80s schedules again.
Another listener said, I think North Texas played OU in the 80s.
Okay.
Also, Yoda texted us, but Yoda isn't making a whole lot of sense. He says, good article about Mateer in the Online USA. Have you guys seen it? I am not familiar with the Online USA, Yoda.
Is USA Today online or something, or is it just Online USA? Let us know, Yoda. You're speaking in Yoda text.
He's not really speaking in Yoda text, though. That text was just normal English dialect.
Well, I guess that's true. Do Yoda. Read it like Yoda would. You can do it.
Jesse G asks, Steely, who did your makeup for camera today?
Me. Old age. We need a lighting consultant. Somebody needs to make me look a little bit better. I don't look this bad. I mean, I look pretty bad, but not this bad.
A listener in the 618, which is the state of Illinois, says, the new KREF app is so improved and has so much versatility. I hope Joe John takes notes.
Really? It is that improved, so it lives up to the hype so far? That's good. What are they, let me see what's new on the KREF app. Have you checked it out?
I have not checked it out.
Did they put the streams on there too, like the YouTube yet? Okay. Let's see here. I don't know. I'll have to find out later. But good. Yeah. If you haven't, Yoda said yes. What does that mean?
I have no idea. We asked Yoda
USA
several questions.
Today. There you go. USA Today.
USA Today. Yes. Jim and Blanchard sent it to us. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer not over SEC football snubbing him, and they'll pay for it.
Really?
I'm from the South, and all these SEC teams recruit the South, Mateer told USA Today Sports. So I guess they all passed on me.
That's a chip on his shoulder. There is a chip on his shoulder. You know who else did well with a chip on his shoulder, right? Baker Reagan Mayfield. So, what was his high school again?
He played at Little Elm High School.
Little Elm.
Down in DFW. I guess I didn't realize this. John Mateer was committed to Central Arkansas before he flipped to Washington State. Central Arkansas.
Wow. I didn't know that either. But yeah, so I guess. Wait a minute. What's the closing line on the story?
It's not for me to look at this as I'm the savior of a program, Mateer said. I don't get caught up in that. Success is winning games. He also added, everybody will be paying for it.
There you go. There you go. I like it. The early returns, again, are really good. But again, that could be what's pumped the most during the spring. Sunshine. You're not pumping negativity. So take it all with a huge, many grains of salt. But I would be really surprised if he didn't play well. And if he plays well and they can stay healthy on offense and relatively healthy the entire roster, then the Sooners will have a chance.
Also, you think Drake Dykin has a bit of a doppelganger here?
It's very dark on my monitor.
You think OU quarterbacks analyst John Kucheski looks a little bit like Drake Dykin?
Like I said, my monitor, the guy's face is so dark that I can barely see it. Maybe a little
bit. Old man doesn't have his glasses.
Maybe a little bit. No.
Look at this. Come on.
Yeah,
it looks
maybe
exactly
a little bit.
like. Why won't the image enlarge? Enlarge, dang it.
Sounds like you're calling for a suit. Enlarge!
John Kucheski has a little bit of a Drake Dykin vibe going.
Drake, you can't mess with Drake anymore. He's walking around here super confident. Like I said, he's got signed a 5-star to his organization, still committed to the organization. Maybe she'll officially be signed. That's basically an engagement ring, right, down the road. But he's walking around like he owns the place.
Doug in Norman says, Yoda is my cat, and I've forbidden him to text anymore. He abused the privilege. And 918 listener says, test. Just seeing if this thing works. Cool new app. Yes, this thing does work. Text received.
There you go. Yes. Oh, so you can text through the app now.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
How about that? Yeah, Blake is nodding yes.
Okay.
We got a little wheel on there. You can do a bunch of different activities. Oh, you can pull us up.
Kyle from Salisaw says, enlarge, dang it. That's what she said. Little tawdry there, Kyle.
Yeah, you said tawdry.
By the way, that listener down in Texas who, we were all wondering where he played in college. He said he played at Colorado before transferring to Southwest Texas State.
Colorado in the 80s. Chuck Fairbanks? Chuck Fairbanks, who came back to coach college coaching after he went to the Patriots. And I believe Barry Switzer's Sooners beat him 82-42 in one game. I believe that was the score.
That did happen, yes.
Yes.
I believe
Was
OU set the program record for rushing yards in a game that day.
Is that the game where Switzer called Billy Sims? No, because Sims would have been a lot earlier than that.
Yeah, I think that was 1981, 82, something like that.
Oh, hell, we hung a half 100 on their ass. Yeah. Hanging a half 100. OU didn't hang... What? They didn't hang a half 100 on anybody last year, did they? Well, did they hang a half 100 like on
Temple?
Temple, that's it, right?
That was it. Temple and Maine.
Think about some of the games though. The Houston game,
16-12.
They got the call that probably shouldn't have gone their way on the fumble, the muff fumble that really, if you look back at it, they probably got a break there. We all thought the Tulane game, right? Jackson Arnold's, that was the, I called Gary Yepremian, the second worst pass of the season was behind Bauer Sharp in Baton Rouge, was Jackson Arnold, the pick six against Tulane. Remember, right to the linebacker, and he just took it right in there. Not good. So do you think Jackson Arnold will have a bounce-back season at Auburn?
I do.
Are you buying some of the Auburn hype?
When you say Auburn hype, what do you mean by that? Because I think Auburn's going to be better than they were last year.
They can have a breakthrough kind of year.
Okay, what does a breakthrough year look like in the SEC? Are we talking like 10 wins? Because I don't think they're winning 10 games in this SEC.
8 or 9 games,
They
maybe?
can win 8 or 9. I think that's realistic. You're gonna have a lot of 8-win SEC teams.
No
this year.
doubt.
Teams in that ballpark.
So the first test for Oklahoma, Bryce Underwood, the 5-star kid, Michigan guy, right? Sounds like he's winning the job in spring. So you'd expect to see Bryce Underwood in game 2. And then in the SEC opener, the JFA return. How do you think he will be received when he comes back to Norman?
Probably with some vitriol, I would think. Not because the fan base has anything against him personally, but probably because they all watched him struggle.
Because
last year.
they take Oklahoma football very personally.
They do not like players that do not play well at Oklahoma.
You followed him from Geyer. You guys were covering him all the time.
Yep.
You saw the brash, and he was never a super cocky kid, but you could see the swagger of Denton Geyer.
He had a little swagger. Yep.
Did you see a major change in his, I don't know if attitude is the right word, but just his level of confidence as the struggles continued? Like when you were around him in interview situations.
He did not get his swagger back.
Yeah.
At any point last year. Felt like that swagger honestly was compromised from the jump, and then it broke in the Tennessee game. I mean, that Tennessee game broke him.
Yeah.
Even the Alabama game. Right, what did he throw the ball 14 times in that game?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, that was probably the game of the year for both Jackson Arnold and Oklahoma. But he didn't have to do a whole heck of a lot with his arm in that game. He just had to cover the ball up and run straight ahead. And it worked.
You want to get a couple texts in before we break?
Big Rich in OKC says, we should all wear tiny hands to that Auburn game, like Kristen Wiig's character on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, she did that in a skit, recently. That was creepy, but it was good. The Lawrence Welk skit.
Yes, the Lawrence Welk skit. A 405 listener definitely accurately says, the worst pass was Arnold's backwards pass against Tennessee that people kicked 40 yards before Tennessee recovered.
That's definitely up there. No doubt. That's got to be top 3.
Krabby Sooner says Arnold will be better at Auburn than he was at OU. Mark it down. I think that's a pretty safe assumption to make. There's not much of anywhere to go but up after last year.
I concur, sir. Yes, I do as well. All right. What else?
A 405 listener says JFA will suck all season, except he will magically beat Tom Brady against the Sooners.
Well, he only will have like 3-4 games under his belt when he comes to Norman, right? Because that's the SEC opener.
SEC opener for both teams.
I wonder if Auburn plays anybody good in the non-con. We'll have to look at that. All right, we got a break right here. Mike Steely along with Parker Thune. And we also have the one and only Blake Gamble running YouTube. 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text. So I'm going to get some more texts on the way. And we'll also talk 5-6 minutes Thunder basketball. Oklahoma City is crushing people. We'll do that with our man Brandon Rahbar coming up next here on The Ref.
Dusty Dvorak here. You're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
OU softball, baseball, and gymnastics offer great opportunities for you to get out for some exciting action and support your Sooners. Going to an OU event or game? Balfour of Norman on Campus Corner invites you to stop by and get some new OU gear. Whether it's a softball jersey with your favorite player or just a new lucky shirt or hat to wear to the game, Balfour has everything you need to be in style and showing your colors. Cheer for the Sooners in the best and newest styles in Sooner sportswear. Locally owned for more than 45 years, Balfour continues to be Sooner fans' favorite OU store and has everything you need. Balfour has the latest styles and fashion trends for men, women, and children. You can find something for every Sooner fan. When it comes to hats, they have you covered with more than 100 styles to choose from. Even OU socks, so you're literally covered from head to toe. Graduation is right around the corner. They have OU diploma frames in stock. Or you can always get a gift card so they can choose the perfect gift for themselves. Come see us on the corner or shop online at crimsonproud.com, where you will find everything Sooner.
When you struggle with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, you get used to not feeling 100%. I thought that was how it had to be. Until I discovered the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. They told me about new medications that weren't around back when I was diagnosed. They helped me find a specialist who gave me a new treatment plan. I'm feeling better than I ever thought I could. Don't settle for not feeling your best. Take action today to take care of yourself. Spill your guts. Learn more at spillyourguts.org.
Serving in Afghanistan, I was shot in the head by sniper fire. I was given a 5% chance to live. I'm Adam Alexander, and I'm a veteran. Today, I visit classrooms and share my story. I tell kids that with a little help and a lot of work, that you can overcome any challenge.
DAV helps veterans like Adam get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year.
My victory is being there for the next generation.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
A luxury experience awaits you at the Artesian Hotel, Casino, and Spa. Relax in one of our elegant suites, complete with exclusive dining options. Take a trip to the Serenity Spa and let your cares melt away, or enjoy upscale shopping in our many boutiques. And don't forget to explore your gaming options for your chance to win big. Find your luxury experience at the Artesian Hotel, Casino, and Spa, 1001 West 1st Street, Sulphur, Oklahoma. Call 1-855-455-5255 or visit artesianhotel.com for complete details.
Hornsdown Apple Pie Liquor is not your grandma's apple pie unless your grandma was a moonshiner with a PhD in flavor. This all-natural, 6-time distilled spirit is sure to light up any party, tailgate, or special occasion. Whether toasting a touchdown or yelling at the umps because Spike was safe, Hornsdown Apple Pie is the perfect drink for celebrating the highs and lows of life in Oklahoma. Hornsdown celebrates all of you who cheer from the berm, tailgate, on Lindsay Street, and wreak havoc on social media. You can find our red bottle at your local liquor store or search for your closest location at drinkhornsdown.com.
Is your team coming to Norman or Noble for an event? Let Chick-fil-A 12th Avenue be your winning meal provider. From box meals and nugget trays to lemonade and tea, 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A can provide your team's pre- or post-game meal. Delivery, pickup, or dine in, 12th Avenue will have you covered. Call us at 405-310-3189 or use the CFA One app and let Chick-fil-A feed your team. Don't forget to ask about the Give Back program for a winning season. Call 405-310-3189 and remember to eat more chicken.
Life can be complicated, but saving money shouldn't be. At OU Federal Credit Union, they make saving simple and stress-free. The best part? They have no hidden fees. Joining OUFCU means you're in control of your financial future. Whether it's a rainy day fund or saving for that dream vacation, they've got you covered. Visit OUFCU.com or come by one of their branches today. OU Federal Credit Union, where savings is simple and dreams come true. Member savings insured up to $250,000 by the NCUA.
We are back, and we've got our man Brandon Rahbar to talk a little Oklahoma City Thunder basketball here for 5-6 minutes. Then we'll hit some last-minute texts before we get out of here. Mark Daigneault last night after the Thunder blew out another opponent that was absolutely, totally humiliated, that being the Chicago Bulls, as Oklahoma City jumped all over Chicago, scored 145 and won the game 145-117. Daigneault saying that he loves his team's focus down the stretch, even with having already clinched the West a long time ago.
Daily approach has been great. The consistency day-to-day has been there, and I think that's shown up on the court. And we're in a nice team rhythm on both ends of the floor, game by game. So we got 7 more, not an insignificant amount of games. We got to keep improving, keep sharpening our blade as we run through the rest of the regular season.
There you go. Isaiah Joe, 8 threes, had 31. SGA, 27 and 12 assists. J-Dub looked great. 4-7 from 3. He had 23. As Oklahoma City gets ready for a matchup tomorrow night on ESPN 8:30 against Detroit. And then a big one, not a big one in the standings, but Houston's been playing some excellent basketball, and that will be Friday night in Houston before back-to-back games with the Lakers at home. Brandon Rahbar joins us on the Riverwind Casino hotline. Brandon, of all the stats and all the things being written and said about the Thunder right now and the history that they're making, which one stands out to you the most?
That is a good question, Mike. They have been so impressive. I got to say, right now they are tied with the 96 Bulls for the best net rating in NBA history. I mean, when you look back at all the great NBA teams, whether it's the Showtime Lakers, whether it's that Warriors team with KD and Curry and Clay, or whether it's the Celtics with Bird, you got the Thunder right now tied for the best net rating all time with MJ, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and those championship Bulls. I think that is incredibly impressive.
You know, it's interesting when we get some people who might complain a little bit about the NBA, even when it comes to talking about the Thunder, is if you watch this team, they show up every night, play both ends of the floor. They play team basketball. People are talking, oh, they just run around and chunk up threes. Yeah, everybody does in the NBA. The Thunder does that as well. They made a ton, again last night. But they also move the ball. They play defense. This is an NBA team, Brandon, that shows up on both ends every single night.
They are, and they are a well-oiled machine. It doesn't matter the opponent. It doesn't matter the night. It doesn't matter who's playing, who's not playing. This team shows up and competes. And if you're like an old-school NBA fan that misses, like, defense, misses team ball, this Thunder team is for you. Like, even SGA, the Thunder's MVP frontrunner, he's a throwback. He's like – He reminds you of an MJ, of a Kobe, as far as like he goes to the rim, he plays in the mid-range, and he's the rare superstar that plays defense and brings it every single night. Doesn't complain or whine to the rest. Like, this team is incredibly talented, but they also outwork every opponent every night as well.
Brandon Rahbar, DailyThunder.com, joining us here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Thunder next in action tomorrow night against Detroit. That's an 8:30 tip, by the way, on ESPN. And I know that he's been in the Rising Stars Challenge, and people know about him and know his game, but I still think Cason Wallace is underrated. The guy just keeps taking the ball from everybody. He's knocking down his threes now. What a great, great pick that was for Oklahoma City. He continues to get better.
I completely agree. If you were to ask me who's the most underrated player on this team, I think it's Cason Wallace. I think for most teams, he would be like the young guy that a team is excited about. It's just the Thunder have so many young guys to be excited about. But Cason Wallace, like you said, he's already become an elite perimeter defender. He's 21 years old. Like you said, you can't drive on him. He's going to swipe the ball from you. He gets block shots all the time, and now he's taking it to the rim. His offensive game has expanded. He goes under the radar, but every night he's playing, and he's making an impact both offensively and defensively.
All right, with Brandon Rahbar, DailyThunder.com. One guy, and I know he's had some good games last night. He didn't have his best game, but Chet still looks a little out of place to me. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think he's still trying to get. Well, Mark Daignault said it perfectly today at practice at shoot-around. He said that he's still trying to get his rhythm back. He's not quite, where he was pre-injury. We've seen the flashes. He's had some dominating performances since he's been back, so I think that's promising. Especially defensively, I think the impact is still there. He's been good on the boards. I think more so than anything, it's offensively. One, he's playing a new position. He's really playing the 4 since he's come back because they're playing double bigs, which has been really effective. But for Chet in particular, his offense isn't quite there yet. But I do still think he's making an impact as he gets his way back.
All right, Detroit again tomorrow night at home. Then you go to Houston Friday. Sunday, a 2:30 afternoon game at the Paycom Palace against the Lakers. And then they play again back against the Lakers at home next Tuesday night. So a week from, a week away. That'll be a 7 o'clock start. Then you conclude the regular season on the road at Phoenix, Utah, and New Orleans. What do you think the chances Oklahoma City can get to 70? And do you think that means anything to this team? Down the stretch, you've got to win out to get there, though.
Yeah, I think that they have a shot. If they play SGA, J-Dub, Chet, Hartenstein, Dort in those games against the Rockets and the 2 Lakers games, they can do it. It's going to come down to those 3 games because, those last 3 games, the Suns, the Pelicans, and Jazz, they just want to give you wins on a silver platter regardless of who's playing. I think that the Thunder would love to be the 3rd team in NBA history to ever get 70 wins. And if they play their guys against the Rockets, Lakers, I think that they can do it.
Yeah, a lot of guys are. Katie's been injured. Zion's been shut down for New Orleans. So, Oklahoma City's just better than all those 3 teams too. If they play their guys, they could win all 3 of those on the road easily and by a bunch. Okay, real quick, look at Big Rich in OKC on the text line. When is Aaron Wiggins coming back?
That is a good question. He's been the one guy. The Thunder have been getting healthier and healthier. They're getting most of their guys back. I would say it's soon, and I would even say, I would guess that if, the playoffs were starting next week, there's a very good chance that Aaron Wiggins probably is playing. The Thunder, for all good reasons, can be cautious with these injuries and be conservative with injuries because they're deep and because they have the number 1 seed clinched in the West. I think that Aaron Wiggins is coming back soon, and it's not a long-term deal.
Brandon, you're the man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Mike.
Brandon Rahbar, DailyThunder.com. Oklahoma City, 3-game lead over Cleveland for the top seed in the playoffs. They're going to get that done. Oklahoma City's going to have the home court advantage throughout. The longer they play, you get to the NBA Finals, you get a Game 7 in Oklahoma City. How sweet would that be? They only have a 14.5-game lead over second place, Houston in the West. And, of course, they clinched the top spot a long, long time ago. So they're literally dominating everybody right now. Is it going to be easy to go win it? No, because they haven't been there, done that. The Celtics have. If they play Boston, has that advantage. But, Oklahoma City they're just, it's a fun basketball team, and it's a great basketball team. If you can cap this season with an NBA championship, be unbelievable, no doubt. Okay, 405-651-3439. And you can hit us up on the YouTube chat as well.
Chris from Knoxville on text line says, for any degenerates and Jackson Arnold believers out there, you can currently get Auburn as a 1.5 favorite against Baylor.
There you go. Is that game's in Waco then?
I don't know.
Yeah, Blake says yes. You would think, with Auburn only a 1.5-point favorite. Well, I guess our man down there in Waco, why am I drawing a blank on the freaking head coach?
Dave Aranda.
Dave Aranda. The cyborg.
Yes, the Aranda bot.
Saved his job last year.
I mentioned last segment that I would expect Jackson Arnold to encounter some vitriol when he comes back in an Auburn Tigers uniform on September 20th to Norman. And there was a listener that said, I must be missing something. Vitriol? JFA deserves some blame for the awful offense last year, but his confidence being put in the porcelain is not his fault. I'll be happy if he finds success at Auburn as long as it isn't against Oklahoma. Look,
I think that's the perfect sentiment right there.
That is the perfect sentiment. That is the correct perspective. Unfortunately, there are a lot of Oklahoma fans out there that do not agree with that sentiment. And they see Jackson Arnold as highly culpable in everything that went wrong last year for OU.
And here's the deal. Look, old man commenting on society again. We are not a nice society anymore. We lack empathy. And you can, they'll come at me, well, it's football, you get tough or whatever. Okay, I get it. But, I would say, if I had to guess, at least 60% of the fan base will not be happy. I don't know, when he runs on the field, they see him in warm-ups, because we've dumbed down everything, and people they're just mean. Sorry, you think I sound like a wimp? They are. Because that's what, having a take and coming after somebody and getting your clicks and views, it's all just so freaking stupid. And so what would you say, Parker, if you had to guess how he'll be treated, like if he runs out? Some idiot's going to be out there, with his freaking camera on, going, hey, Jackson, looking for attention. That's the kind of world we live in.
Yes, and the burner-verse is going to be all over Twitter in the week leading up to the OU-Auburn game. I can't wait till that terrorist Jackson Arnold gets back on the field so I can boo him.
Do you think the super punky kids who, come out on the field, look, I thought it was horrible when USC lost to Notre Dame. And that little dude came out and starts getting on his phone, on Instagram. I was ready for Caleb. If Caleb Williams would have cold-cocked him, I would have been all for it. I mean, seriously. I hate those punks. Getting attention at somebody else's expense, it's so pathetic. Old Man Rant coming up 152. But you kids are pathetic. I'm going to run out and say something to Jackson or watch him put it on Instagram. Hey, Jackson, what do you think of that? Getting right in his face. These kids are winners that you're coming up to. If you're coming up and putting something on Insta, you're a loser. A world-class loser. But we've got a lot of them out there these days. A lot of them.
A lot of folks that are addicted to clout.
Finally getting the attention I never got. Finally. There's a place where I can fool people and get the attention I need. Boom! That would have been great. Caleb Williams I'd have been all for it. Even if Muleshoe had cold-cocked him. That's the one time I would have rooted for Muleshoe. Running up to an athlete. Putting him live. What a... That would have been awesome.
Chris from Knoxville says, Otega Owe was booed. Unfortunately, Jackson Arnold will probably receive a worse reception. Yeah. Evan from Blanchard adds, Jackson did everything right in a Sooner uniform except play football well.
Yeah.
Good luck to him. To hell with the LSU transfers.
Well, I kind of agree with that a little bit more. Yes, I would agree.
Why don't we like Nick Anderson? Besides conspiracy theories about...
I'm Bauer Sharp. I'm still okay
Yeah, no, I get
Nick
the hate
Anderson,
for Bauer Sharp. I get that. Why the hate for Nick Anderson? That's one thing I will never understand.
Because the boy didn't want to play. That's why I got his NIL money, and he just stood over. He could have been out there playing. Back in my day, rub a little dirt on it, get on out there. He collected name, image, likeness, dollars, and said, I'm out. That's why. That's what a lot of people thought.
Brian from Maryland says, again, Steely, your views intrigue me, and I'd like to subscribe to your newsletter.
Thank you. But, I mean, I think it should be legal. I don't know who makes the rules, but if somebody runs on the field, one of those little punks with his phone going live, that you get one good shot. And if it knocks their ass dead out, not dead, but, you know, knocked them out, you should get one punch, one free punch. As I said, we're a society that lacks empathy, but I have no empathy for those losers. The attention-seeking clowns. They're everywhere. Might as well be a circus out there. Have yourself a great Tuesday, folks. See ya.